Some of you may have seen one of my videos of my recent trip where I had some issues with this Kings Kwiky tent and the telescopic arms which are located on each corner. Two of them at the front actually came away from the support structure. Now what I've done is I've removed all of the rivets from the side of the tent, because all this is this plastic cover is actually just attached to an aluminium frame or a steel frame around here with rivets. Not a very good strength inspiring thing. So what I've done is I've removed the rivets and you can lift the tent up. Now there is the problem. You will see that there is a bolt, and that is a bolt that I actually installed during that 5-hour stressful period. But you'll also notice how crappy the welding is on these brackets. Now my intention is to actually, when the weather picks up a little bit, I'm going to take this roof off and I'm going to rebuild this thing better than it ever was. First thing I do is remove all the rivets that didn't drill through, so I'll drill them out, and that gives me location holes for later on when I go to reattach this top. But you can see this is the last of these telescopic struts here. I had actually put a bolt, I think that there's been a bolt put through there at some stage. That's the only one that I haven't actually gotten to yet, but I will be. I'm actually trying to locate some spare struts because one of these has actually been repaired before and the repair was not very good. I should point out that I did not buy this tent from Kings direct. I bought it second hand, and of course that's always buyer beware. The young girl that I bought it from had said that she'd used it for about 6 months and that it did have new telescopic arms. Well, I know now that that was a bit of a fib, but anyway, it's buyer beware of course, and I'm not complaining about that. I got it at the right price and I'm at least in a position to do something about it and get it fixed to my satisfaction. Okay, I moved the whole unit into the garage because we have some fairly unsettled weather here in Albany at the moment, and I've taken the actual roof off, which is here, and that's as I say, that's a fairly simple operation, and the roof of course fits on these quite snugly, and then it's just basically riveted in. And that is the problem with these tents. The whole concept is fantastic, it's just that they make them so damn cheap that people are getting rid of them in droves. They're their own worst enemies, these people that make them. Instead of investing a little bit more money, they would have a pretty bloody good product in their hands. And I intend to make this one suit me. Over here you can see the telescopic arms. Now that's how they work. You release these straps of course, and then each one of these starts to push against this and it pushes it up. And that's the basic concept. It's as simple as they could make it, but they just make it so cheap. So I'm going to put more bolts. The problem here, one of the problems that I see, as you can see here, this is not quite in line. This particular one here, I'll go around the other side. I don't know whether that's by design. See, this one is off like a dog's hind leg. They're not square. And I think a part of that is because this particular bracket in here, I've only got it bolted so it can actually swing like that. The theory should be, it should be straight in line or at the same angle, each one of them, and then they will come down uniformly. I'll see what I can do. The first thing I am going to do is release the clips, and we'll just watch how the thing goes up. Right, it'll probably take off on me once I release a bit of, I may not, bit of the tension. last one, and I just hope I've given myself enough clearance here. That'll be good. Okay, here it goes. Simple as that. Back one, we'll just give it a kick, and there it is. That's how easy that thing is. Such a simple concept. So now we can see the inside, stripped of its flashy bits and pieces. And these things, these are only to stop people bumping their elbows. Are they necessary? Oh, it's probably a safety feature or something. But now I can see where I have potential problems, and I can strengthen this whole thing up now. I was trying to get new telescopic arms because there's one here, this one here, somebody has actually tried to repair it and they've put a bloody cabinet hinge in there. God, some crazy people. Oh, I can't say that because I might do the same thing. But you can see that hinge over there. There's the detail. That's how they are, and they're as flimsy as you could make them. That's to keep the weight down, I guess, and keep the price down. Now, before I clean all this stuff up, this is what I'm talking about, how cheaply they make them. Look, see, all these just rivets. I hope you can see that. I'll make sure. Yep, rivets, and this is where the awning poles go in, and they just flop around, and that's just totally unacceptable. So now I have to work out a way where I can make the the awning pole, which comes out this side, out here, hold that awning up. Now this, the actual tent itself is zipped on to this section, so you can see now that actually gives it a bit of rigidity when it's actually fully zipped up. Now I may have given myself a couple of problems here later on when I go to re-zip this up, because there's the tension that was on it just released when I undid the last part of the zip, which is here. So my next trick will be, I have to, once I've done my little repairs, line those zips back up again and re-zip and put that tension back into it. Now, in order not to give myself a whole heap of heartache, I've actually strapped it back down. It's under slight tension, but that should give me enough clearance to re-zip that whole thing back up when I need to. I just wanted to check that theory out before I go much further, because if I start removing some of these things, these just go boing, and they are under a fair bit of tension, let me tell you. So then the next thing is I'm going to have to remove some of these ones that I've already put in, because I want to do at least 2 bolts and keep them all lined up. As you can see, that one down there, that's lined up. This one here is like a dog's breakfast, and that's probably because that's the previously repaired one, and that's as floppy as it comes. I need to strengthen that up a little bit, but I'll get there. Well, it might look a little bit agricultural, but I've now put 2 bolts into this one and 2 bolts into the other one over there, and that will hold at least the top brackets stable. I've taken the other one off because if you have a look here, this is the other agricultural repair that's been done on this by somebody else. Well, I can't criticise, I guess, but the thing is not in line, and I'm going to try and get it into some semblance of a line if I can. Well, we've successfully got a couple of bolts in each end here, and I've got these horrible cover things back on. Now I need to clean up. Now I'm going to modify this little thing, not so much that piece, but that was there like that, and the awning pole comes through, and that's just like an end stop. I'm going to use a piece of aluminium square tube. I'm going to affix it there, but I'll also have the hole drilled in so that when the awning pole comes through, it will not go any further than that, and it won't be able to slop around. I'll make this quite a tight hole. Well, I've fixed the first one in with a couple of pretty hefty self-tapping screws, and all I have to do, I'll put the other 3 on, and then I'll drill the holes through, and I think that should hold. Certainly a lot better than it was in the first place. Okay, well, I've put the strengthening bits in there on each side, as we can see. So they look a bit agricultural, but shit, the whole tent is agricultural, isn't it really? So now I'll drill the holes from the outside for the awning poles, and that should theoretically be the end of it, and then I'll put the roof. Right, so I've drilled the holes in there. They have to be at a very slight angle back out this way to keep tension on the thing. That's where they all fall down with their designs. I hate designers, they don't know anything, and that is how that should be, whereas before it was floppy and it was all sorts of things. So there it is, much better. Now I just have to do the other 2, and there we have the other side. Now that's perfect. Now that's keeps the things out, they don't slip down, and there's tension on the whole thing. Why couldn't they do that in the first place? I don't know. No wonder I call myself the grumpy camper. Okay, well, I've folded it up, and of course this is what it looks like when it's down. I do notice that this has got a bit of a curve in it. That's probably through misuse or overzealous pulling down, probably by me. And I think that's about as good as I can get it, short of replacing those hideous telescopic arm things. But look, it's bolted down and it's more solid than it was, and if I take it camping again, I'm at least assured that if it does fall to bits, it's all my fault, not somebody else's. There are some people on YouTube who've panned these tents, and they've said some of the fixes have been because they got water or something in. Well, I didn't, mind you, I didn't get any rain, but I haven't experienced any ingress of water into this tent, and it's been on my car down here in Albany for a good 6 months in torrential rain. And I did take it on one trip down to Denmark one day that it was really pelting down and there wasn't a drop of water in the tent. So I'm not going to fiddle around with it. I will see if and when I use it again, if it's wet, I will address those problems if they ever arise. Now I'm going to attempt to put the roof back on it, very carefully, of course. Now, the tricky bit will be, I have been around and, let me just have a look at here. Now I'm going to try and line up the holes. Now the other thing is, I have decided not, of course, to put rivets in here. I'm going to use Metal Tex. Now I've checked these ones here, and that's going to be in case I need to take this roof off again, and I want it to be as easy as possible. Okay, well, I've got the lid on it now, and we've got Tex screws, as you can see. They're about 1 inch, 10 gauge, 12 gauge Tex, I think. They'll hold it down. It takes a bit of persuasion to get this back on. You've got to be very careful, because a lot of people have been complaining that these corners are cracking. But I think that's maybe something to do with being out in the sun, because any plastic over time in the sun will crack. It goes brittle, doesn't matter what it is. And one of the last jobs is to put this beading back on. And the way it was on the first place, I didn't like it, so I'm going to move it, put it about here. I haven't got these fully tightened down yet. And I may have to get some glue in here. This is called pinch weld, this stuff, for anybody who's ever looking for it, and I believe now Bunnings are selling it, but only in 3 metre lengths, which is the next thing to useless, because Now you should make them at least 10 metres. Now I'm going to fiddle with this and get this on. I'm actually going to raise the tent to put this on. And that'll be a bit of a test to make sure that the tent goes up, which it does. Voila! Look at that. Now, I'll just go around here and refit the pinch weld, probably better than ever. And I'll come back to you for the finished product. And there we have the last piece of pinch weld on there. And everything is ship shape and hunky-dory. We'll go and have a look inside. Come, camera, come. Let go. Okay, so, I don't know if we can see in here. Let's have a look. We're now, oh yeah, it's dark in here. Ha ha ha. Okay, we've fixed it. Better than ever. Well, for now. Okay, so there we go. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. And hopefully, for you Kwiky tent owners, it was handy to be able to see how the thing is actually constructed.